Good morning. I'm down here getting ready to fix my burn pile, get it going. I got more coming in, job I just took. Now, I wanted to point out when you unload something like this, setting your parking brake doesn't necessarily do all that good, because if you unweight the front or unweight the back when you take the machine off and it lifts the back wheels, which it won't on this setup, but on some it will, then that truck and all could roll forward and then take out the power pole in the other truck. But so that's why I lock it in 4 low, and that helps prevent that. Now, what I'm down here for is everything has gotten stacked up through the season. Well, not even through the season, just from the last couple months. So we got debris all the way up here, all the way up the hill, all the way out to the driveway almost. And what I'm going to have to do is, see that tall pile there, it'll help block the view of the flames from the road, so that'll help. But the problem is that the pit is overfilled. I'm going to have to take out a good part of that pit, separate out, and start with a small fire. Most of this is real dry, so I don't think it'll take too long to burn it all. But that pit's about 6 feet deep and it's filled all the way up. So on my first burning here, until people get used to, smelling the smoke, I don't want a huge fire going. All right, I'm gonna get set up and get this taken care of.
Okay, I think that'll be okay to start it. One thing to point out, you never want to back your machine up where the door is against a tree or blocked by a tree, because if you, for some reason, couldn't get your machine to start, then you couldn't get in there to mess with it either. All right, I'm going to get this fire going.
Okay, I've got last of the big stuff on there. Wanted to give you a couple things that I've learned on the Bobcat. I wish somebody had told me on two things. First of all, almost everybody carries a pipe in their Bobcat for latching and unlatching these because you don't have the automatic. What you don't want to do is make sure your pipe is not the right length where it can jam between the back wall and your stick in forward. Because one time I was coming into my garage and, you know, I finally kind of got the controls down to where they were instinctive. And I was full stick forward, and I didn't try to draw back on my drive levers until I was nearly at the back wall of my garage. But what I didn't realize, that pipe had fallen into a position where it wedged between the back wall of the cab and full forward on the stick. So pulling backwards, obviously, it was propped forward. I didn't, in the milliseconds that you have to react, I didn't even know what was going on. I had to shut it down with a switch, but even that took enough time that I pushed out the back wall of my garage. So that's one point that's important, I think, because that could actually cause an injury or death. If somebody was standing in front of the machine, you couldn't stop it, which I couldn't stop it, not in time. Second thing is this grapple. I absolutely hate this grapple. There's no bed to it. In other words, there's no flat surface. I don't know if the camera shows that. That's pitched all the way back. There's no way to make it flatter. So nothing stays on that bucket except by clamping force. And 9 times out of 10, you get one stump or chunk that's this way that doesn't let you clamp tightly on the rest of it. And unless you go out and stack all your branches in parallel to prep it for this stupid bucket, you're never going to get. Now, I know it looked like it was effective, and it is to some degree, but there's enough frustration in this bucket that a person wouldn't want to use it on a regular basis. I think there needs to be a flat surface, and then I think that's the reason behind the grapples being segmented in some of those, where you have 2 rams and 2 buckets. That way, if this side gets pinched out on a fat piece, this side can still pinch down on some brush and compress it. Because what happens is you either pulling one chunk at a time, or you have to fork down and plow it, which then puts too much dirt down here. You don't want all that dirt down here because you want to keep your pit deep. Or you're trying to grab a bunch and take it down, but then it drops here, and you've got chunks all the way through here that now you have to track over, which is not good for the machine unless you get out and pick them up. So this bucket, I wish somebody had told me, is not very good. And I don't think that this bucket would go deep and rip roots any better than the other type of grapple with the flatter bed. I like a flat because you get under it, and then you can use the clamps just to kind of stabilize it. This one here, you're relying completely on pinch point to hold any material into the bucket.